Today I'm going to highlight the rubric for director's responsibilities. So before you start watching the video right now, get out that rubric because I'm going to be referring to that and you can take notes directly onto it. If you look at the rubric, it starts with the set diagram. So as you're planning as a director, what you want to do is visualize where you're going to be putting your props on stage, blocking and positioning your talent, and where you're going to put the cameras. So you want to work through that. Before you start marking the scripts and doing storyboards, you want to understand the space that you have to work with. Make sure that you do have at least 2 positions for each camera 1 and camera 2. Where will they be positioned? How will you angle them? Where will you place your set decorations, your props, positioning your actors, and make sure to indicate both actor movement and camera movement with arrows. You can look at examples in the book on page 63, 76, and 77. And also don't forget all of your barter script examples are also a good model to look at. After you complete your set diagram, you can look at it one of 2 ways. You can either look at marking your script first or designing your storyboard. Depends if you're more of a visual learner or if you're more about kind of working through the script and you've visualized it as you wrote it. If you're going to do the mark scripts, again, what you're doing is you're going through and you're indicating where you're going to have each camera, where you'll do your ready and your take. Ready, camera 1, take, camera 1. You might want to put notes in, have camera 2 zoom into the close-up. You may want to have a note, have camera 2 truck over to position 2, things like that. You're also going to be maybe adding in some cues for the audio operator, some cues for the graphic operators. You want to look through all those different things, especially for those of you doing the news format. You're going to want to also be indicating which numbered graphic is going to go along with which news story. Some examples of marked scripts are both the barter script that I gave you and also in the textbook on page 63 and 64. Now keep in mind, there is one difference here. If you're doing a narrative episodic type show, you're going to be using the film style script found on page 46. And if you're doing more of a talk show, news show, game show, you're going to be using the 2-column AV script on pages 43 and 64. Now storyboards. Storyboards, you're given the template for the storyboard, so you want to make sure that you're using the template that's provided to you both in class and on web study. Examples of what to do with your storyboard can be found in the template that I gave you, the barter handout, and also some examples in the textbook. What you want to make sure with our template is that you're indicating all the required information. So obviously within the frame itself, that's where you draw the picture, and in that frame you also want to indicate the frame number. So this is shot 1, this is shot 2, this is shot 3, shot 4. You also want to indicate the camera number. So in the upper left, you have the frame number, and in the upper right, you have the camera number. Below the frame where you draw, the first box you come to is the visual that you're going to be using. So close-up, anchor 1, close-up, anchor 2, medium 2 shot of your 2 characters if you're doing an episodic. That's going to go in that first smaller box. And then underneath is the dialogue. So the bottom larger box is where you're going to type in the dialogue of the script with your storyboards. Now up to this point in your development, whether you're doing episodic or if you're doing news talk show, you would approach set diagram and marking the scripts in a similar fashion. When it comes to the storyboards, that will be a little bit different. Keep in mind that if you're doing an episodic narrative type, your storyboard will actually follow, just like the barter example did, frame by frame. You will actually give a shot for every single part of the script. However, if you're doing a news show, because you will be cutting back and forth between a lot of the same shots, maybe anchor 1, anchor 2, talent and guest, whatever it might be, the storyboard for the news talk show type format, you will just be giving examples. This is what I want my close-up of anchor to look like. This is what I want my medium 2 shot to look like. This is what I want my open shot to look like, my close shot to look like. That's what you'll be doing with that storyboard. And again, it's because the pre-production materials and producers have also shifted. When you're doing the episodic, you're just marking a script that's generally provided for you. So you're going to have a lot more storyboarding to do. If you're a producer for the AV type format, you're going to have a lot of organizing and developing as the producer of that show. So you're going to see just some responsibility shift there. So while the storyboards will look a little bit different, the fourth item on your director's responsibilities, which is the shot list, those will look exactly the same. Again, follow the example that I gave you for Barter. Also look at the example in the book on page 65. But basically what you're doing there is after your script has been marked, you're going through and notating, these are the shot numbers camera 1 will have, these are the shot numbers camera 2 will have, and camera 3 will have. Again, you can use both your mark script and your storyboard references to frame numbers as a way to organize your shot sheet, which again, you want to make sure that you're designing in the landscape format so that it's easier for the camera operators to read during production. So please look over your rubric. If you have any further questions, make sure to email me or even ask another student who has already served as a producer director. Have fun.